The Woman Who Fell from the Sky. The incredible true story of Vesna Vulović. In the winter of 1972, a young woman boarded a plane that would explode in mid-air. 33,000 feet above the ground, she would fall through the sky without a parachute and somehow live to tell the story. This is the almost unbelievable tale of Vesna Vulović, the stewardess who defied death at a height no human had ever survived before. Vesna was just 22 years old, a cheerful, adventurous woman from Belgrade, Yugoslavia. She loved music, travel, and life itself. After a short trip to London where she saw the Beatles perform, she decided she wanted a job that would let her travel the world. Becoming a flight attendant was a natural fit. On January 26, 1972, she was assigned to JAT Flight 367, a route from Stockholm to Belgrade with stopovers in Copenhagen and Zagreb. But here's where fate stepped in. Vesna wasn't supposed to be on that flight. Due to a scheduling mistake involving another stewardess with the same first name, she was put on the roster. Instead of correcting it, Vesna happily took the assignment, never suspecting it would nearly cost her life. The flight seemed routine as it left Copenhagen that afternoon. The aircraft, a McDonnell Douglas DC-9, climbed smoothly into the sky. At 4:01 p.m. cruising high above Czechoslovakia, everything changed in an instant. Without warning, an explosion tore the plane apart. A bomb, hidden in the luggage compartment, had detonated, ripping the fuselage into pieces mid-air. The source of the bomb was never officially confirmed, but authorities believed it had been placed by a Croatian nationalist group as part of a series of terrorist attacks during that time. There were 28 people on board. As the plane disintegrated in the sky, everyone was presumed dead. But Vesna, still strapped into her jump seat in the rear of the aircraft, didn't die. As the tail section of the plane plummeted to earth, unconscious, tumbling through freezing air. The temperature outside was nearly minus 60 degrees Celsius, and there was no oxygen at that altitude. She should not have survived the fall. But somehow she did. The tail section crashed into a steep, snow-covered hillside near the village of Srpska Kamenica, surrounded by trees that may have cushioned the impact just enough to save her life. A local man named Bruno Honka, a former World War II medic, heard the explosion and ran toward the crash site. Amid the wreckage and bodies, he found Vesna still alive, though barely. Her injuries were catastrophic. Her skull was fractured. Her legs were broken. 3 vertebrae were crushed. Her ribs were shattered, and she was temporarily paralyzed from the waist down. Doctors didn't expect her to make it through the night. But Vesna, against all odds, survived the impossible. She slipped into a coma for several days. When she woke, she had no memory of the crash. In fact, she never remembered anything about that day. Not even boarding the plane. Recovery took months, and although she would never walk quite the same again, she did eventually learn to walk with only a slight limp. When the Guinness Book of World Records awarded her the title for surviving the highest fall without a parachute, 33,530 feet, they asked her what she thought. She simply said, "I'm just lucky." After the crash, Vesna could no longer work as a flight attendant. Not because she was afraid to fly. On the contrary, she said she would have gladly flown again, but because her presence on flights made passengers nervous. Instead, she worked in the airline's offices and lived a quiet life in Belgrade. She became something of a national hero in Yugoslavia, not just for surviving, but for her bravery and her spirit. Later in life, she became politically outspoken, especially during the breakup of Yugoslavia in the 1990s. She was proud of her country, but also deeply believed in peace and unity. Vesna passed away in 2016 at the age of 66. She died alone in her apartment. But her story still inspires people all over the world. No one has ever survived a fall from such a height before or since. Scientists have tried to explain how it was possible. Some say it was the angle of the fall, the snow, the trees, the seatbelt, or pure chance. But maybe some things just aren't meant to be explained. Vesna's fall from the sky wasn't just a miracle of survival. It was a reminder of the strange twists of fate, of strength we don't know we have, and of how one woman who wasn't even supposed to be on that flight came to carry one of the most astonishing stories of all time.